episode premiere actually of the Leadership During Crisis Summit series. Thank you for taking a Saturday morning to join us on this series.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Janet.
It's quite fun, and I think the topic on digital marketing will be quite interesting actually for this final episode of the series itself. That's the reason. Now, for anyone who has just joined us on this episode premiere, the final episode on the Leadership During Crisis Summit series, we have Mr. Adrian Chye, who is actually a digital marketer from Mediafreaks group of company. He's the general manager there. And in today's topic, he'll be sharing with us the impact of COVID-19 on the digital marketing landscape. We'll also be sharing some tips, especially for individuals, business owners, or entrepreneurs on how what kind of digital marketing skill sets we should be picking up in this landscape itself for us to survive and then thrive later on. So welcome again, Adrian, and thank you for taking your time here.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So before we went live, I think we have been actually chatting, and you have been saying that you are very, very busy right now. Could you share a little bit, if it's possible, on some of the projects or exciting projects that you are currently doing?
I think we are very busy on two sides. The very positive side is for some businesses, the business is actually better than before. So we are ramping up our efforts to grow their business. On the other side, we have a couple of business, particularly in the F&B area. They are suffering from the whole situation. So we are doubling our effort to help them get through this. So the contrast is really there. Yeah.
I see. Now, I think we were also chatting that usually when we are looking at digital marketing, especially social media marketing, it's a journey. And I think in the episode premiere itself, you also mentioned about a consumer journey. So I think there are a lot of people who are new to digital marketing that may not know and feel that the ROI should be immediate. Could you take us through a little bit about what this journey usually entails?
Sure. So we are supporting about 25 different industry. So as much as possible, we always try to serve one client for every industry to avoid any potential conflict of interest. So, as we observe across the different industry, right, we got to, it's almost a fact that people won't purchase your product or your service at the first instance when they know about you, right? So that's why we have to have the conversion funnel, the whole consumer journey. So like previously what we shared about, right? Particular of your target audience, he may need to watch a YouTube video, see 2 of your Instagram posts, 1 Facebook post, 1 testimonial, and before they finally make a purchase, or even give you their particulars for you to contact them. So actually for almost all our clients, right, the moment we start a campaign, we got to really figure out this consumer journey with our target audience. And we spend a lot of time there to do a lot of A/B testing to optimize this journey. And we talk about it, right? Like during this COVID, this journey changed again. So almost all my clients, we got to figure out the new journey actually. Yeah.
And what are some of the ways you mentioned about A/B testing and all those? If somebody is totally brand new to digital marketing, could you describe some of the techniques that you utilize actually to understand this consumer journey?
So because today, right, due to all the advancement in the technology and all that, right, whenever you have a purchase or a lead gen on your website, you can actually know where did that lead come from, or where did that purchase come from. Did that come from 1 Facebook post, or is due to 2 Instagram posts and 1 Facebook post? So basically we just have to, the most important thing is to actually map out the whole journey and really track every step of the way to find out what caused the conversion. So after you found out that, hey, maybe it takes 6 posts, 6 content to actually convert a target audience, then we start to ask ourselves, hey, what if I change the visual? What if I change the caption? What if I change the platform? Will it cause the whole journey to be shorter? So we started to do this kind of A/B testing. Yeah.
I see. But like, how do you know? The question would be, how do you know that it is after 2 Facebook posts, 1 Instagram post, that they finally converted to yours? Is it because you collected some leads from them?
Yeah.
Or
So thanks for the question. So to be honest, actually we all don't know. so, so
Okay.
at the beginning, right, it's all best guess, right? So I do my own due diligence. I ask the brand manager or the marketing manager. Then she probably knows something about it, and then we started to put on the paper some hypotheses that we wanted to test. But one little tip here that has served us quite well in recent years is a lot of time I start to talk to the sales advisor, the one is that's actually at the retail store themselves. So a lot of time they actually have a lot of conversations with their customers on a daily basis. So it might be worth the effort to go down there and just have a half an hour chat, or even just give them a call and say, hey, you meet so many customers and all that. Usually, what do you all talk about? Do they dress in certain way when they come? Do they come in certain hours? What kind of frustrations, or even if we receive compliments from them, usually what kind of compliments do we get? So I think getting some insights from the colleagues at the retail, the physical store side, actually can help in making the hypothesis more accurate lah. Yeah, but we don't know at the beginning lah. Best guess lah. Then you just run it lah. The beautiful part is it's not very expensive to test nowadays, Janet, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So now the other thing that we chat about was a lot of times we use social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and all those. It's really for the B2C market. And you mentioned that when it's B2B, it's actually quite different. Could you explain a little bit and how different it is?
Sure. So in very serious B2B businesses, let's say you are selling motor parts, for automotive industry and things like that. Very, very, brick and mortar, serious business, laser cutting machines and all that. So we have clients coming to us from that perspective. And a lot of times I will tell them that, hey, actually you can just focus on digital marketing, meaning choosing the relevant platform like, Google, like LinkedIn and all that. So a lot of them, they will come to me and say, hey, no, everybody is going into social media marketing. I also want to go inside there, and engage audience that way. So when I look at the product, that laser cutting machine, I really can't figure out how I can make it engaging, and more importantly, how to use that to generate ROI for them lah. So I may be very discouraging sometimes. Yeah.
But when you mention ROI, in your case, are you talking about ROI in actual conversions into sales, or basically a conversion from a lead generation perspective?
Both. Yeah, both. So sometimes when the item is too big, right, like a property or a 250,000 laser cutting machine, or even when you sell software, right, to companies and all that. So what happens is when you have such products, right, actually definitely you can't get a sales, right. So what happens is it's actually about lead gen already. But I always encourage our client, to track the lead. So if these leads come from LinkedIn, follow through and see whether this person actually eventually become a customer or not. So most of the time we will try to follow the whole journey lah. So it's also tracking the quality of the leads. Yeah.
I see. And
Yeah.
how do you define quality of the leads?
They convert lor. They become a customer lor.
They
Yeah.
become a customer in the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you say the length of time to basically go through this consumer journey to be before they become a lead itself, and then a consumer, or rather a client, would be longer for a B2B versus that of a B2C clientele?
May not be, actually. That's the interesting part. So for
Ah,
example, when you're selling certain let's say motor parts and all that, sometimes these motor parts may have a serial number or a model number already. So they could be actively searching for that term on Google, for example. So just looking for a supplier. So what I need to do is really just to use for example SEM ads, bring them to the site. Then you spend a lot of time to optimize the website to get the lead. Yeah. So sometimes the journey could even be shorter. Yeah.
I see. That's interesting. Now
Yeah.
we'll carry on this interesting conversation after the episode premiere. So for now, what we'll do is I'll hide you for a little while, Adrian, and I'll show the interview episode premiere itself, and then we'll come back to the live Q&A again.
Okay.
Thanks. Hi, welcome to the Leadership During Crisis Online Summit series. Thank you for taking your time to watch these episodes. Please remember to subscribe at our YouTube channel. Follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook under Leadership During Crisis. How has the digital marketing landscape changed since the onset of COVID-19?
The whole digital marketing landscape has indeed changed quite a bit. Allow me to share what I mean here. So, for most brands, right, we have been doing digital marketing for a while. They actually sort of have figured out the whole consumer journey, right? When I say consumer journey, it means like maybe someone needs to watch a YouTube video and then a Facebook video, and then they may need to see a testimonial on Instagram, followed by a video on YouTube. So before they will actually do a conversion, they may even need to see an article that's being written and so on. So actually for many brands who have been doing digital marketing, we have actually built the whole conversion funnel already with the consumer journey. And that journey has changed significantly this period. So the way we invest and the whole strategy, the action plan, where we put our investment in the whole funnel actually has changed quite a bit. And interestingly, it really varies between different brands. For my role as a digital marketer, we got to really quickly figure out the new consumer journey. I think that's the one that really, on a holistic level, we really see the difference there. Like what we checked earlier, right? Some businesses are striving, some businesses are suffering. Actually, not all are suffering and not all are striving. So we really see the contrast here.
So, Adrian, could you give me an example that maybe you're able to share on how this consumer journey has changed comparatively to previously?
Sure. So, for example, we may have one client that, as part of the entire consumer journey, one of the winning formula, as the third step, was to actually bring the potential customer to the store, to the physical store, to redeem samples. Actually, the redemption of the sample is a very critical component because the beauty advisor, for example, at the physical store will be able to do what they need to do, right? And to actually communicate and really do the further explanation and all that. And we realize that as for this particular product, actually that is such a crucial piece in the whole puzzle to actually complete the consumer journey. But when this whole COVID hits, right, they can't do that, right? I think more than 10 physical outlets have to be closed. But, life still have to go on, right? So we really got to figure out how to overcome this samples redemption. Yeah. It may sound very simple to say, hey, no big deal, right? We just mail the samples to them, but it's really not like that, right? After you go to them, will they really get it? Will they really use it? And when is a good time to check with them if they have used it? And how can we get feedback? And so on and so forth. So I think this is probably a classic example that I can share with you. Yeah.
Right. So for your point of view, currently, what are your 3 tips for succeeding in a digital marketing campaign? And I would like to ask you from 2 perspectives. One, if it is a B2C consumer journey. The second one, if it is a B2B consumer journey.
I may want to answer it in its entirety as well. So you mentioned what are the top 3 tips, right, to succeed in a digital marketing campaign. So having do this for more than 10 years, I think if I have to, there are so many things to say, but if it's the top 3 tips, right, I think the first one is so important, which is we really have a good product or a good service or a good message to digital market, right? I think, when you have a product or service or even a message that you really wanted to advocate, right, what is the value that it is given to the society? I think that element is so important. I mean, not everything is suitable for digital marketing. Yeah, sometimes the product it's not competitive at all and all that. It just wouldn't work. Now, when I talk about a good product, right, I also wanted to share this. It's really not just about how fast, how better, or how cheap it is. I think in digital marketing campaign, right, one of the most important things we should do is to add intrinsic value to the product. There's a reason why people is willing to pay 3 times to buy the same phone, right, with the same specs. So I think creating the intrinsic value as part of the whole digital marketing campaign is a very important consideration. So a very, very good product, service, or message that gives value to the society. That's actually my first tip. So you got to evaluate that offering. Second is really the conversion funnel, right? The full consumer journey. I think having a very good consumer journey, a strategy to actually craft the whole conversion funnel framework is actually very important. And as we discussed earlier, right, actually the consumer journey really varies between different industries. And I think the ability to find out the consumer journey of that particular product or brand is very important. So that requires a lot of digital marketing skills. The last one,
maybe a very good team. Yeah. So from a larger corporation perspective, right, it's not easy to do digital marketing alone. I think I'm still seeing a lot of people to say, hey, I employ a digital marketer, oh, that's it, done, right? Anything from creating assets to doing a media buy, create website, the back end, something wrong also is this issue, right? Actually, it's not really like that. I think it is a whole team coming together. And also, for example, let's say for us, we're an agency, we work with a client. Sometimes it's not just our direct client, but her boss, boss. Are we all aligned in the objective that we want to achieve together as a team? So I think the quality of the team, yeah, is probably my third tip. To have a very good team. Yeah. Now, when it comes to individual, right, is it really possible for one individual to execute a good digital marketing campaign? I think the person has to be really, really good and have a lot of time. Yeah. It's not easy. Yeah. That's my honest opinion. Yeah.
So if someone who is an individual and they have choice but really pivot digitally right now because of COVID-19, then what would be your suggestion for the person to do if they cannot do it alone?
I guess that also relates back to the next question, right? Which is also what skill set,
Yes.
should one pick up to do well in the digital landscape? What makes up a good digital marketer? Let's call this person, a digital marketer. This gets bigger as you become a more and more competent digital marketer. But I think there are generally 5 sets of skills now that's actually quite important. Of course, you don't have to be expert in all 5, and perhaps certain things is more important. So I think at the very top, maybe I want to talk about is the techniques. So actually, the techniques of digital marketing is really very important. When I say techniques, it's like what we went through together, right? All your Facebook, IG, Google, LinkedIn, TikTok, and things like that. So it's all these different techniques via the digital platform. And perhaps I would even want to say that whether you are a digital native, I think that's also something quite important, digital savvy and a digital native. Now, what do I mean by that? I think today, you don't enjoy consuming content on Instagram. Perhaps digital marketing may not be suitable for you. I don't need to be fascinated or addicted to it, but you should be quite enjoying, consuming content on all these different digital platforms and all that. So generally, I think technique is quite important. And moving forward, right, like what are the other 4 skills? I think the other one is actually video skills. So video is quite important. And then, we continue to have the graphic design, right? The graphic design space. And then, of course, we have the tech space. So here we're probably talking about, for example, web programming. And I think the last one, important winning formula is really the domain knowledge. When I say domain knowledge, right, it depends on what industry are you in. So for example, if you are doing digital marketing in healthcare, I think the domain knowledge that you have in healthcare will really help you greatly as a digital marketer. And today, right, if we look at this whole shift here, I think the technique part has to be really very good. So you can see that in terms of the techniques and the domain knowledge, I think these are the 2 pillars that a digital marketer should be very, very good at. But you should be quite relatively comfortable in video content creation, graphic design, and web programming. No one asks you to be an expert there, but then again, you should be comfortable with it. I think someone with such skill sets now will strive very well as the digital marketer.
So now, because the individual may be already a subject matter knowledge domain person and they don't have the time, for example, they need to outsource it,
right,
and they may not necessarily have a budget for an agency.
Right.
So what would then be important for them to pick up in order to find the right people to help them?
Sure. And before I answer that question, I want to talk a bit more about the domain knowledge. There was also this question, right? For mid-careers, is digital marketing really a suitable career switch and things like that? Actually, I honestly think the domain knowledge that they acquired perhaps over the last 15, 20 years, that's actually their unique selling point, right? So if I'm an accountant for the last 15 years, I totally know the industry very well. I know the pain points and the needs and all that. So I think if someone coming from the angle, you have the domain knowledge. I think the thing that you really got to beef up yourself personally is the technique. So I think you can't run away from that, because even if you employ people or you engage someone to do it for you, right, you really got to be quite familiar with the techniques. Because if not, the person says what, you believe what. I don't think that's going to end well. Yeah. So I think the technique and the domain knowledge is so important. Now, of course, right, you won't have time to do the video, the graphic design, and the web programming. And engaging a full-fledged agency may not be the short-term solution. And my best answer to you is, I also wanted to assure everyone there are many, many talents out there, right? In fact, there are communities out there where there are very outstanding video content producer, graphic designer, and web programming. And They do not want to be fully employed. They love being a freelancer. They strive being a freelancer. And they are waiting for many of these business owner, right, or digital marketer to actually connect with them. So it's really about, the networking, getting connected and finding that team perhaps of freelancers that has the chemistry with you. Yeah. But nothing's going to happen if you don't make an effort to connect with them.
So in summary, what you're saying is with the domain knowledge itself, although you can outsource videography, graphic design, and tech web development, the part about owning how you would want to go through the different channels in terms of FG, LinkedIn would still be quite crucial so that you can actually monitor the different messages and how the campaigns perform.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, especially if you have limited resources, right? Of course, someone with a lot of resources, all he needs is domain knowledge. That's good enough, right? Everything you can pay for it.
Yeah, correct.
If you really want to, bootstrap, I think something that you really got to pick up and really understand is actually all the different techniques. No one asks you to do it, but you can do it if you want. It's just that, maybe I can do it in half an hour, you need 3 hours, but you know what is going on, the familiarity and all that. I think that's very important. Yeah.
Hi, Adrian.
Hey, hello.
Hi.
Thanks for editing my video so nicely.
Actually, I don't know whether you have heard about AppSumo. So a lot of these software, the graphic design, I actually took from there. Then, of course, I had the help of my son, who then put everything together for me.
Yeah, bootstrap, right? So cool. Yeah, it's very nice.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so now the thing though is there are quite a few people who ask me on how do you find good connections on, like you mentioned, how should I say, not just the digital marketers, but also graphic design and all those. And you mentioned that in the episode premiere itself, there are people and there are groups like this. So how do they find these groups?
Actually, we have a couple of entrepreneurs in Singapore who are very into this space. They literally built the whole network. Yeah. I forgot the name because for us, we do everything in-house. But there's this particular entrepreneur by the name of Jace Tam. Yeah. She's been, maybe you know her. Yeah. I think she's been building up this network over the last 6-7 years. It's awesome. So she's connecting all the freelancers together and growing the network and helping SMEs and all that. Yeah, so I mean, I think a little bit of due diligence, you'll be able to find them. Local ones, yeah.
Local ones, I see. So welcome anyone who just joined us actually for this final episode of the Leadership During Crisis series. So at this particular moment in time, we just finished playing the episode premiere with Mr. Adrian Chye from the Media Groups company. He's the general manager there. He's also an adjunct lecturer both at SMU Academy, and that's where I met him when I learned the digital marketing course from him, as well as NTU. I think that's the Technopreneurship Center that he's in charge of. So you can actually key in your questions in the chat box. So if you're coming in from your desktop, please log in either into YouTube or Facebook and key in the questions towards the right-hand side. If you're coming in from your mobile phone, then the chat box will be at the bottom of the screen itself. So Adrian, once again, thank you for taking your time to share your experience and insights on this series.
Welcome. Thanks again for having me. Yeah.
No worries. So now, the thing is, I'm just wondering, right, with so many new things that's happening in the digital marketing landscape, I think we talk about the skill sets and all those. So for someone who's brand new and who wants to learn the digital marketing skill sets that are taught in many courses in Singapore right now, especially with the Skills Future funding, what's the best way to get themselves familiarized and actually do well in this area?
I think generally in Singapore, we are not so diverse in the type of platform that we use. So it's just getting started. I would say that get yourself familiarized with that 4. with that four main platform, I think that's definitely a very good start. So when I say the four, I'm talking about the Facebook in Singapore market, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Google, and the LinkedIn. Again, when I say Google, it includes SEM, YouTube, GTN, and all that. So I think these are the four brand or platform, that you should get yourself familiarized with ASAP if you are doing digital marketing in Singapore. Yeah, the rest can wait lah. But this four very critical. Yeah.
So, and when you say critical in terms of learning, do you really actually need a website? How does one start? It's just so long as you have a good product and you can basically just start. Or do you actually need to create the usual way, the website, the Facebook page, and everything else?
Yeah. So, like what I shared earlier in the video as well, right? So, very important, first of all, is you actually have a product, right, or a service, or a message that is that you want to advocate that is valuable to the society. So, let's get that done first. Then the next thing is, okay, now I need my target audience to know about this, right? And that's where you actually use the platform to do it. And because nowadays the platform have evolved so much over the last 10 years, right? It's so advanced, you can track and all that. So by knowing all the techniques in the four platform, you will be able to select the right one to help your business, because which one to use and how much to use for every platform really depends on the business that you are in. Yeah. Now, so you're going to say reach out to them, right, in an effective way. Now, then you need to convert them. So do you need a website to convert? Traditionally, you need a very optimized, conversion driven website to bring them to in order to do the conversion. But you will see that in the last 2 years or so, right, Instagram, Facebook, Google, and even LinkedIn, they are trying very hard to uh, create alternative products, online products, to say, hey, you don't even need a website. The whole conversion can happen on Google itself. Because they so starting to create a Google lead form, Facebook lead form, LinkedIn leads form, stuff like that are coming up to convince digital marketers that, hey, you don't need to build a good website lah. But my honest opinion, I think you need a good website to get quality leads. Yeah, that's
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So thanks for sharing, Adrian. There is Derek says thank you for the information, Adrian, and he has a question that he would like to ask you. Is if I would like to engage a digital marketing company, how do I make sure I hire the right one?
Yeah. Hi, Derek. So it's very important that you hire the right one, because there's a. So when we say right one, right, it's not just about So there are two perspectives to the right one. One is they really know their stuff, right? Yeah. Second is also the chemistry, right? Because someone could be very very good at it, but as you communicate and all that, maybe the person is just not interested and all that. So the chemistry is important. But before you hire any digital marketing agency, or even any employ anyone to join your company, I strongly suggest, right, to go and learn the techniques yourself first. Because now you have all these skill future courses and all that, they really heavily subsidize it. So like what Jenna did as well, right? So I strongly encourage you to go to one of the CET centers and pick up these skills first. So at least during the interview, right, you can ask the right questions and ensure. I think that will really increase the chance of you picking the right one, because there's a yeah, I think there's a lot of companies out there who may not agency out there who may not really know what they are doing, so have to be careful. Yeah.
So, but there are also many people, when I suggest that, they say they don't have time,
Mm.
but they would still want to engage a digital marketer, maybe on a part-time basis and all those. What would be maybe 3 important questions that you will ask this digital marketer to make sure at least they know their stuff, and what kind of answers should you be looking for?
Yeah. So my humble suggestion is it's worth your time to invest that 2 evening and 1 Saturday to attend the course, because that 3 questions are all technical questions, right? So we're going to ask that, for example, in Facebook, we're going to say, what do you know about Facebook Pixel, and how can it be used in a digital marketing campaign? So you need to ask question like that, and so you need to know what it can do lah. And then when the candidate or the agency comes along, he needs to say much more lah to impress you. But if you don't even know what is a Facebook pixel, it's very difficult for you to select the right one. Yeah. So I think the opportunity cost is higher lah. Yeah. So worth your 2 evening and 1 day lah, to attend and learn one platform. Right, Janet? I hope you doesn't have
Yes.
to be mine lah. There are many very good trainers and good courses out there, but it's important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But I think the other thing is, for at least for me, I'm a very hands-on person. If I had taken the course and not practice with an existing site, whether it's a Facebook page or website, when you talk about Facebook pixels, I think it's going to be very difficult to understand how this entire conversion actually works. And I think as a new person in digital marketing, we also need to basically manage our expectations. I think a lot of times when people look into social media advertising or digital marketing, they're expecting an immediate return, which if you look at actually a normal sales cycle, especially if you're looking at B2B, where you have the entire account management and you've got so many different touch points, it's impossible. It takes about 6 months to a year for B2B. I think for B2C, I have not had the success that you have, like immediate. Most times to get me on SEO or up on the site for organic search, it will still take me about 6 months, I think.
You mean to rank?
Yes, to rank.
Okay, that's normal. That's
That's
normal.
normal, right? That's
Right.
normal. The other thing actually that I have come across very frequently now is the ClickFunnels. There are many people talking about ClickFunnels. They are talking about Katra. They're talking about so many different systems that I get confused a little bit. Have you come across these terminologies, and what are they versus that of a normally lead generation from Facebook or SEO?
So we can look at them as the basic, intermediate, and advanced. So the Google lead form, Facebook lead form, LinkedIn lead form are the basic one, right? It's just a very dull, boring form, right? Then you go to your ClickFunnels, right? That's the intermediate one. So you can start to design the lead form to look more professional, and then you can put in all the pixel and do your stuff. And then you have the advanced, which is the website, right? That's where you really have to invest the resources. So the question now maybe is, which one should I use? And I do have a humble and simple answer to that. So it really depends on the competitive landscape of your industry. Right? Generally, the more competitive is your industry, the more advanced you will need your landing page to be. Yeah, actually that's really the guide. So if you are really doing certain industry where it's extremely competitive, I give a few examples. Fashion, cosmetics, tuition, enrichment. So if you're in this space, that that plain looking lead form or even ClickFunnels may not be able to do the job for you. Yeah, you may need to really make your home look much more professional and nicer lah, and engaging in order to harvest the quality leads. Yeah, so the competitive landscape of your industry matters a lot. Yeah, so in fact that's what I look at lah, at least for me.
I see.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. So Derek say, got it. He will sign up a form. So if you're wondering actually what Adrian was talking about, I signed up for the SMU Academy digital marketing course, and with the skills feature and a lot of subsidies, you can go as low as less than $200. So just for 2 evenings and 1 Saturday, that's what it means basically. Now, the other question I'd like to ask you, which we did in the interview, but we didn't have enough time in the episode premiere itself, is there are many young graduates that actually just came into the job market into this very uncertain times. And if they decide to actually start something on their own, how do you suggest that they start and look out to become an entrepreneur, basically?
Look out to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think you shared some charts, or rather, at least on the online basis, to start up.
Right. So yeah, so the skills part we talked about already, right? So I think sometimes with all this COVID-19 crisis, how can you prepare yourself better, and what else can you do, right? So I think one of the thing here is to really try to amplify your business instinct during such times lah. And I think I prepared two simple slides with Janet. Maybe she can share. So for example, today let's say I run my uncle runs a toy shop, or I'm asked to help Toys R Us because their physical store cannot open and stuff like that, right? So sometimes you got to really amplify your business instinct. Like in the case, nowadays you can really use a lot of data to actually guide you in the way you drive your business. So I shared this slide with Jenna, right? So by using the Google Keyword Planner, you can actually find out the number of monthly searches for all the different keywords in on Google and all that. So in these particular slides, you can see that in the most recent months in May, right? Can you see all the different board games from Monopoly and so on, Ludo and all actually have a rising trend, right? All of them have a huge increase in monthly searches. Now, and if you go to the next slide, I pick Monopoly for fun reason. So in the next slide, you can see that yeah. So this particular slide actually shows the monthly searches for the keyword Monopoly over the past 12 months. And you can see that, in the month of May 2020, no thanks to the CB, right? Or thanks to the CB, yeah, the volume of searches for Monopoly actually almost doubled to 10,000 searches, which means people are actively looking to buy Monopoly badly to buy. And if you have that business instinct, right, to foresee or even predict such demands, right, when everybody is having the stock out situation, you will be the one that's able to cater to the demand. And this is still how you business. So if my uncle is running a toy shop, or if Toys R Us is my client, my whole mindset will be very into this space to really foresee and predict what's coming, and how you diversify the business. Yeah. So this is very, very important to become even more entrepreneurial than before. Yeah.
So now, thanks, Adrian. Now, the other thing would be you were actually inspired to be an entrepreneur when you were first starting, because you originally were going to tech. I remember you're sharing in class itself. So now, but it's not easy to start off as an entrepreneur. So what 3 tips would you give the young graduates if they were to start out in this particular area?
I would say, many people, I think, how I put it, maybe I share with you the philosophy that guide me. It's a very common one. I think a lot of people know about this one, but I've been using this framework to guide me in the last 15 years. So we talk about it, right? Like in life, right? You try to find the thing that you are very good at equals to the thing that you love doing, and that people are willing to pay you for that, right? So that thing yeah. So like for me, I think you also know, right? 15 years ago, we started doing 3D animation. Actually, we are primarily an animation studio. So I love 3D animation and I enjoy doing that. But I wouldn't call it my love. I enjoyed it, right? But about 10 years ago, I came across digital marketing. And then, I really fell in love with it. And I strive very, very hard to become very good at it. And thankfully, over the last 10 years, people are willing to pay me for it, to do the job for them. So as a result, this starts to grow, right? And perhaps at the beginning, I'm just thinking of like a 4-man company studio and all that. Just slowly, right, do it. But as it grows and all that, it grows and all that, then yeah, it becomes a business. Yeah. So I don't know, I'm not a very wow, I'm going to raise 20 million to do a startup. I'm not really that kind of person. So it's a bit different. Yeah. I just wanted to have run my own business, but I think finding that thing matters to me more at the beginning. Yeah.
So when you say that thing, was it something that you are passionate about, or something that you're good at doing, then developing a passion for it?
Yeah. So for me, the first one was I got interested in it first. Yeah. So the passion first. So the more I do digital marketing, I start to really love it a lot more. Yeah. So then because I love it a lot more, right, I start to spend a lot of time on it, weekends and all that, and I don't find it feeling like work So I just invest a lot of time to make myself very good at it. Yeah. But the last one, I guess, yeah, with a bit of luck people are willing to pay me for it, pay me to do the job. Yeah. So that's the flow. Yeah. And I encourage every graduate, right, young graduate, maybe if you just want to immediately raise 20 million to do your startup, I'm probably not the best person to give any suggestion. Yeah. But I think whether you are working for people or you are trying to do your business, I think finding that thing that you are very passionate about, like many other people have said, right, I think that's the most important. Yeah. So I wake up very happy. I'm very, very tied up, very little time for family and all that. But when it comes to digital marketing, I enjoy it very much until today. Ask me 5 years later, Janet, I don't know what will happen. So far,
Okay. Okay. When I do the next series, I will ask you again. So
yeah.
so Adrian, what I'll do right now is time really flies. It's at 11:30 already. I will hide you for a little while and share the website where they can actually review in case they come in later for this particular episode itself. So I'll hide you for a while and then I'll get back to you a little later.
Okay, sure.
Okay, thanks. So just like in all the other episodes, you can actually get a replay of these episode premiere and live Q&A later on if you came in halfway or you missed some parts of it. So you go to effectiveagentleadership.com, get into the Leadership During Crisis page, and you will come to this page where there are a total of 30 episodes of this Leadership During Crisis Summit series, where we shared with, where I interviewed many different guests, 30 outstanding individuals, based on how they overcome their emotional crisis personally, how they overcome their business crisis, and some of them sharing their business strategies, as well as the latest one, I think we had a live panel discussion on online communities and today's digital marketing. So when you scroll all the way down, you'll be able to see Adrian's episode. Okay. And then when you click on the Watch Now button, you will be able to get into his episode webpage where there are 2 videos. The first one is actually the digital marketing video on the episode premiere itself that you can rewatch. But if you would like to watch the live Q&A one more time, if you have missed any of it, you click on the blue button that is actually right below the episode premiere video. Then once you scroll further down, you can read more about Adrian, his background, as well as Mediafreaks.com, Mediafreaks group of company.com, no, Mediafreaks.com. So the other thing that we have done is because this episode actually has a total of 30 episodes, so it's a little bit difficult to scroll through. So if you would like actually to go by categories like overcoming business crisis, overcoming personal emotional crisis, then you can go to learning.corporatetrainerconnect.com, and in there you will see many different online courses, some of it on emotional resilience, some of it on leadership, some